Welcome to the second episode of the InnerTuning podcast. My name is Richard Matisaw. I hope that you enjoyed our inaugural episode with Sri Shyamji. I'm always so amazed by the depth of his life stories and how they intertwine with the development of InnerTuning as a practical and methodical system for sustainable psychological and spiritual growth. In this episode, we will speak with Sri Shyamji more about how he discovered the microchakras, how they work in the three different channels, what the qualities of energy are, how we have three bodies, and the purification process for those three bodies, along with more specifics on the InnerTuning system. So let's jump in. How did you discover the microchakras and what are they?
Well, as a practitioner of yoga, I knew about the chakras. I studied them also. I also knew about the marmas from the Ayurvedic massage point of view. And as in my previous talk with you, I mentioned that I was working with this woman who had some problem with her spine, namely arthritis. And when she started to feel better, I continued working on her back, working with the marmas. Marmas means the pressure points. Then one day, it just so happened, one morning I woke up at 8 o'clock and I found myself, I normally sit on the floor and I had a small desk. On the desk there was a yellow pad, and on that yellow pad I am sleeping with my both hands down like this. And I never sleep like that. This is not the way I sleep, it's not the way I even rest. But that's what happened one morning. And when I looked at that yellow pad, it was filled with handwriting, which was mine. It was somewhat of a what is called automatic writing. Something just is coming and I'm writing. It must have been at least 5-6 hours of writing. So 8 o'clock in the morning, around 8 o'clock, I got up. And when I started to read what I wrote, I didn't believe that I wrote that. I don't even know why I even sat there with the yellow pad and a pen. This is a mystery to me. And this mystery is still a mystery. All I can say is that maybe my Guruji whispered things in my ears and I started to take a dictation. That's the only reasonable account I can present. And what it was, 147 stages of human awareness that leads from total ignorance to enlightenment. Over the years, of course, I kept on reading, rereading, started to do some lecturing, telling the students, meetings, how it happened and the story and so on, And the interesting thing was that I was able to then observe from those marmas that I used to work with, it became even more precise because between the marmas there was a station, there was a space. That is the space where I could feel this energy is either moving or is static. Either it's moving or it's static. If it's moving, it's an opening. If it is static, it's a block. So I could make a chart. It's unbelievable. I used to actually make a chart without knowing about the microchakras because I was basing it on the marmas before. In 1965, I had the first chart, whereas in 67, I got the vision of the microchakras. So the chart was there, but it was not the microchakras. I still have it somewhere, a chart of 1965. But the real charts started in 1967 when I had a reference. There are 49 microchakras. Now, your question was, what are the microchakras and what are the chakras? Chakras are classically known. 7 major chakras, 2 minor chakras. They start from the Mooladhara, which is the first chakra, and then Sahasrara, which is the 7th. And there are 6 more in between, and 2 minor ones. Now, chakras, you should look at them as like the sun. You wake up in the morning and you see the light. You may not see the sun, but you can see the light. Is that correct? Because the rays of the sun are traveling through your window to your room. Sun is not coming in your room, but the light is coming in your room. Sun is way up in the sky, right? Chakras is exactly the same way. They are spinning wheels of light. And their light is traveling through what I call now the microchakras. So if a particular window, a particular pathway, a particular microchakra is blocked, you're not going to get the light from that particular pathway. So then we call it, this particular microchakra is blocked. Shall I give you an example of it?
That would be great.
Okay. Let's say that you were born in a hospital, right? Your mother is laying down and the doctor is there to help in the delivery of the baby. Now, baby is looking upward, doctor is looking downward, right? When the baby is received, the baby is looking upward, right? When you clean the eyes, baby's eyes are totally accustomed to the dark. Inside the mother's body, there is no light. So when the baby is coming out and the eyes are cleaned and the baby sees that light, let me ask you something. When you wake up in the morning one day late and the sun is shining through your window and you open your eyes, what is your reaction? You go like this. You go like this, as if the light is attacking your eyes, right? This is when you are familiar with what sunlight is. Look at that poor baby. I get very emotional when I talk about the birthing process, how primitive it is that we have adopted. So what happens is, the 3rd microchakra of the 6th chakra of the baby, blocked. Forever. Just because of that light entering into the tender eyes who have no idea, no experience of that light before. That's just one microchakra. There are 49 microchakras all along the spine, which we call in the right channel. Right channel is where the energy from the head descends all the way to the earth chakra. And after the age 3 in girls and 3.5 in boys, all that solar energy has descended to the first chakra part of the body. Then it starts to rise in the left channel. There are 49 microchakras that we open with our own efforts. In fact, the good news is it doesn't make a difference how many blocks you have in your right channel, as long as you can open them in the left channel. You can have the 3rd microchakra of the 6th blocked in your right channel, like the example I gave you of that baby. You can open the 3rd microchakra of the 6th in the left channel by never missing a sunrise. These are practices that are done. You will open your 3rd microchakra of the 6th. Now it doesn't matter. That block can be a block, it doesn't matter. Mentally you can overcome it with some spiritual practices. But you've got to open it. If you don't, you'll never be able to meditate. I can assure you. Meditation is a 6th chakra faculty. And when there are so many blockages in the right channel, and if you don't compensate by opening those blockages in the left channel, you will miss out on the activities that are related with the 6th chakra, which are meditation, intuition, and balancing the 3 different types of energy, 2 of which are known to people. The third is rarely known in cultures outside of India. Satwik energy, it's called, from the word sattva. Tamas, rajas, and sattva. There are 3 types of energies. Tamas energy is heavy energy. Heavy, you're feeling sluggish, brain fog, sleepy, drowsy. And rajas, sharp like a whistle. Full of energy, full of movement, full of life. Those 2 energies are known. Sattvic energy is not known. And that can only be experienced and not known intellectually. You can define it by saying, yeah, it's a pure energy. Now, what does that mean, pure energy? If you have not experienced the purity, what is pure energy? So I don't like to explain too much of Sattvic energy because I can't give references to it. One thing I can tell you, in India it is known, Sattvic energy, because, for example, things that are made up of leather, they are called tamas energy, heavy energy. It's dead skin, right? Dead skin is tamas. So when you go to a Hindu mandir, it's called mandir, a temple, you take your shoes outside, you put your shoes outside. You take your watch, if it has a leather strap, outside. If you have a belt that is made up of leather, you put that outside. You're not allowed to go in a temple with dead leather on your body. Your skin is tamas enough. Therefore, people take a shower before they go to a temple. Because the sattvic energy in a temple gets disturbed when you bring in so much of tamas energy in a temple. That is purity.
I know from my experience being a student of yours and doing workshops and having a chart made and all of that, that really what has been so mind-blowing for me is that oftentimes the spiritual path is so woo-woo, and there are a lot of practices, and I felt as a student of yoga and a teacher of yoga and an aspirant, I was constantly getting a new practice to do, and one thing piled up on another, and at some point it was kind of like, I don't have enough time in the day to do all these practices, and really I don't feel like I need any of them. And so this idea that you're able to hone in and have a chart like this of the microchakras showing you basically where you are on the path to enlightenment, it sounded a little bit woo-woo to me too, and I was very skeptical. And when I came to this work and got the Microchakras book, and then came for an appointment for a chart where Sri Shyamji just read my microchakras, feeling my spine, and made a chart, I was like, this is not possible. And then I read in the book what every microchakra means physically, psychologically, emotionally, why it's blocked or why it's open, and what those implications are. I was like, this person, this teacher didn't even ask me one question, and here is the map of my life. And so the science of spirituality really became something real for me. And that's what has attracted me to work with this chart and work with Sri Shyamji. And I wanted to share that with the listeners because it's a way to ground. The way I look at it, it was a way for me to ground my spiritual work. And the way I explain it to some of my friends is it's sort of like having an MRI as an analogy of your subtle body. So this leads me to a question that might be beneficial for all of us. And as the first part of that is, what is this idea of 3 bodies? And what is this idea of purification? Because what I've seen with my limited time doing this work is that the purification retreats have opened up so many of these microchakras that I was struggling with or had blockages in. And so what is this whole idea of having three bodies, and what is this whole idea of purifying them?
Mm-hmm. Yes, physical body, of course, you can see, you can feel, others can see, others can feel. Subtle body is where the chakras are, and the subtle body is actually in popular words, a aura around you, which is actually coming from the light that is shining within yourself, the light that is shining from the chakras, that's oozing out of your skin, forming an aura. That is called the subtle body. All your feelings, they come to you from your subtle body, not from the physical body. Physical body only experiences a sensation. When you have an itch, you scratch, the itch is gone. That is not a feeling. That is a sensation, bodily sensation, a nerval response. Body has nerves, nerve endings. You tickle them, you can do all kinds of things. Those are bodily sensations. Even though some people use the word feeling for a sensation, but what they mean is a sensation. So then where do the feelings come from? They come from your subtle body. In this universe, which is a physical universe, it also has a subtle body. Some astronomers and physicists are now suspecting that there is a parallel universe. Maybe that is not a subtle universe, that may be another physical universe they are sensing. I don't know. But all I know is, I'll give you some practical examples in a minute, that you don't only have a subtle body, you also have a causal body surrounding the subtle body. So there is a huge causal body, then there is a subtle body around the physical, and then there is the physical body. So physical body is like an envelope. Subtle body has a letter in the envelope. And the causal body is the message on the letter. Now let me give you a practical example. Before we decided that we will have this meeting, did the thought of having this meeting come first in your mind?
Yes.
Okay. Which means that the physical occurrence had not taken place. This meeting was at the level of a thought. Right? That is called the causal body. We think of things first. Thinking takes place with the causal body. The recipient of the causal body in the physical body is your left hemisphere of the brain. It's a receptacle. It is not creator. Nobody's brain can create a thought. We receive thoughts. You receive an idea. You receive an invention. You receive a poem. You receive. And if you are receiving it, where is it coming from? We call that causal body. Okay? Same thing is with the feeling. Feelings are coming to us from the Sukshma Sharira, it's called, subtle body. And the receptacle of that is the right hemisphere of your neocortex. Then what happens? That feeling, if it is supported by the thought, it will turn into an action. For example, when you planned this meeting, it was accompanied by a feeling, which is that if you make a podcast, maybe hundreds of people will get some benefit from it. Right? There was a feeling. So a thought was accompanied by a feeling, and when the two got together, the action took place, which is what is happening right now. And when this meeting is over, you will again use your causal body. If it will be accompanied by a feeling, you will then indulge in whatever that is that you thought about and you felt about. Every single action you perform happens that way. Whether we know it or we don't know it, because it happens so fast, it happens so spontaneously. But there are stages in which anything happens. And those are the three bodies that we talk about.
Okay. And how can those bodies be, quote unquote, purified?
Okay. First of all, let's find out how do they become impure at the first place. Let's start with your causal body. When you have impure thoughts, I will give you an example of impure thought. I am not good. I have bad temper. I have bad thoughts. You are disturbing the harmony of your causal body by receiving these thoughts from it. You are polluting your causal body. A bad thought pollutes the causal body. A bad feeling, like being in a toxic relationship with somebody. It could be your mother, father, brother, sister, neighbor, friend, husband, wife, whoever. When there is a toxic relationship, that pollutes your subtle body, the body of the feelings. And finally, both of them put together make the chemistry of the physical body become bad. We call that a disturbed apana. I earlier mentioned apana prana, which is a detoxifier. At the physical level, the apana gets disturbed by having no bowel movements or untimely bowel movements or eating wrong foods. The physical body depends on purity of the foods. And these days, with all these GMO foods and foods laden with all these insecticides and herbicides and fungicides, people are eating them. And I know people who just pick up an apple from a supermarket, they don't even wipe it, let alone wash, and they start to eat it with all the wax on it. They think they're eating a very healthy food. Apple itself is healthy, but the way the apples are being produced is not healthy. So therefore, even if you are having abundance of food, you can still be in the sickest country. You see? So it is better that periodically we do a purification. You asked that question as well. Purification is a 5-day process in which we work with the physical body, with the cleansing herbs and seeds and husks and all kinds of things, water, some Ayurvedic things, some herbal, some vitamins, whatever helps the physical body. And then we do some practices, some movements, which involves sweating, which involves other things that help the Sukshma Sharira, subtle body, purify. Then we use sounds. Sounds are so purifying. Subtle body responds to the sounds so wonderfully. And finally, meditations, they help. And rhythms. When you have first chakra rhythm, second chakra rhythm, we have different rhythms. We recite them, we chant them, our bodies respond to them. Then, of course, there are melodies of the mantras. So, number of those things are done under the same roof for 5 days. And at the end of it, you know already how many purifications have you had, Richard?
I've done probably 9 or 10.
So you know, you must be feeling something from them to continually be doing them.
So to summarize, does this make sense? Because the way I've processed this in a nutshell is the physical protocols are quite beneficial in quote-unquote purifying the Apana, the downward prana for elimination. And in a nutshell, the sounds, once that's happening, the sounds are quite effective in, quote-unquote purifying the subtle body in ways that enable those feelings to be more pure and those openings in those blockages in the subtle body to be chipped away at. And then the teachings, the Vedanta, the pure teachings are quite beneficial for the causal body to have a belief system that's so crystal clear and true and universal. And as these three things are happening, there's sort of this compacting, as you call it, and have told me, and I've felt. And really the outcome of purification, from my experience, is my thoughts, my feelings, and my actions feel so much closer together and less disjointed in the way that I'm thinking about eating and I'm feeling I want pizza, and at the same time I'm still in bed. And those three are not, uniform and flowing, whereas when they are, it feels like the Dharma, our purpose, our flow, our natural inclinations are not even questioned. They're just happening. Is that a summary that makes sense?
Yes, it does, with the exception of the word belief you used, or the third body. The belief, actually, according to what microchakra psychology suggests, is that if repeated experiences bring you to the same conclusion, same feeling, same sense of purification, then you form a belief system. We don't start with a belief and then start to kind of deepen the belief system by repetition. That makes it religion. Because religion it starts with a belief, and then you have religious practices based on your belief first.
I see.
Yeah. Here the belief is, we don't start with the belief. We start with the actions. Actions for purification of the physical body, the subtle body, and the causal body. So when you are doing 9 purifications, that means you believe that the purifications are helping you. You didn't start out with the belief that it's going to help you. You experimented. So if your experiments and the repeated similar results happen, then you start to believe that 3-body purification is really believable.
Thank you so much. And the last thing I would say on that is direct experience is the most powerful teacher, and that's what I'm so grateful for with your teachings and your sounds. Is it's an experience from the inside out, and that's what really registers on a deep level. So really appreciate the time today. We will continue this with future sessions, talking about many of these topics in more detail and introducing new topics associated with sound healing, chakras, microchakras, inner tuning, and purification. So thank you for your time, Sri Shyamji, and we will talk soon.
Welcome.